Welcome, everybody. We are back. This is the Sigma Show. Just before I get into who's joining me today, let's really quick go over what topics we're going to be talking about. First up, some sad news: the passing of Darth Vader actor David Prowse. We'll say a few words about that situation. Topic from last week that we wanted to bring back over is IO Interactive are going to be developing not a Hitman. They make Hitman. They're going to be developing a James Bond game, which I'm personally very excited about. I'll find out if the other guys are. Some information from Sony CEO saying that absolutely everything from the PS5 stock has been sold, which doesn't mean exactly what I think it does. Also, a big interview from The Verge with Phil Spencer. He goes into detail about how Xbox Gamepass works, which has been a big mystery in the industry for some time now. And he also has some choice words to say about what he called console tribalism, which I definitely want to get into. But joining me today is Blue Bones.
What's going on, everybody?
And welcome back, Jesse. Rexicon Jesse.
Hey.
Sorry, I just completely forgot the number.
It's okay. The Jesse part's my actual name. The
Right.
Rexicon, just the handle.
It's my family name, the Rexicon. But I wanted to ask you guys first before we get started. Like, how was your Thanksgiving? Like, we just came off a holiday. Thanks for being here, by the way. How was that break?
I'll go first. It wasn't bad, man. It was actually really good. I was super hyped this year. My fiance and I and a really close friend of ours who lives in here, we actually celebrated on Wednesday because my fiance had to work on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I was hearing that a lot in terms of healthcare workers.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm. But on the upside, if your Thanksgiving's on Wednesday, you beat all the rush in the supermarkets.
That's a good point.
So it was really stress-free shopping, and we put together a really nice spread. And we sat down and we watched Kitchen Nightmares. It was a really good time, you know.
Awesome.
So I was really blessed to do that. And then on Thanksgiving Day, everyone is away, so I kind of had some time to myself. I got deep into some WoW, actually.
Really?
Yeah, actually World of Warcraft. I just picked it right back up. A good friend of mine gifted me a year subscription, so I'm like, let's go.
Clutch.
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right, so hopefully we'll hear more about your reintroduction to WoW in the future.
Yeah, most definitely.
But Jesse, how about you? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was really fun. It was just my partner and I, because be safe. So we bought stuff earlier in the week that we were going to make all the sides, but our plan for our big meal was we were just going to get a butt ton of barbecue.
That's not a bad idea at all.
It was so good. We got pulled pork, beef brisket, and smoked turkey.
There you go.
Nice. Awesome.
Then,
go ahead.
I'll say, and then we had like greens, sweet potatoes.
Oh yeah.
Those freezer rolls that you never get except during holidays. Those East ones. They're so tasty though.
Oh wow.
That's good. Maybe look into investing into them the rest of the year then. But yeah, I did actually leave my house. I went just to my mom's house. Usually my family packs like 60, 70 people in somebody's house. So they showed some restraint. Everyone stayed in their own like kind of hub houses. Like I went to my parents' house and my 3 brothers showed up. My oldest brother is in Texas, so he was on the Zoom call, and that's what everybody did. We all just kind of Zoomed with each other, had like an active call like in the living room as we, ate in our particular places. So that aspect was good. There were a couple of things over the course of the night. Things kind of devolved in like a not so great way. But
oh no.
Yeah, I won't get into that. We'll move on into the actual into the actual topics for the day. So first up, very sad news. Actor David Prowse, best known for playing Darth Vader, he was the guy in the suit, passed away earlier today, it seemed. He was 85 years old, and he's kind of a legend in that he was Darth Vader in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, Blue, I know you actually just heard this, like, when I added it to the run of show this morning. So, like, how did that make you feel as, like, a huge Star Wars fan?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still experiencing it. Just like Sigma said, I just found out right before we went on live. Um, Darth Vader for me, just right off the bat, was probably the first villain that I sympathized with. Um, and I was really interested in the villain's backstory and saw the dark turn. It felt like Anakin's story was so impactful to me afterwards, and just seeing how people can change and the redemption and blah blah blah.
Hmm.
Um, that those classic images of Darth Vader stuck out to me. Yeah, there's a lot that I could say about that. There's the whole father son relationships and all that kind of stuff, and but that looming figure is iconic, not just in my memory. I know in many other people's memories too. So I'm praying for the family. Um, I'm hoping that they find peace, and his spirit finds peace too. Yeah.
Right, Jesse. I know you're not the biggest Star Wars fan yourself, but hearing that the original actor, passed away, like, what, like, does that give you any feelings, any desire to like maybe go back and revisit Star Wars, like maybe kind of just to pay homage in that way?
I don't feel like my opinions on it would pay homage, so I won't do that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think that's like one of the things that I do appreciate about some of the Star Wars fandom is how much appreciation there is for like the actors in the suits. So like the C-3PO, R2-D2,
Right, Chewbacca,
like
yeah,
like there are people whose names you probably also know. And I really like that they weren't just pushed aside and be like, oh, but it's just, the people whose faces you got on screen.
mm.
And that they were, embraced by the fandom, which I think is really cool.
Right. And Lampy adds apparently was the role he was most proud of and what earned him an MBE. I'm not sure I
Oh,
know
wow.
what an MBE is. I'm assuming it's an
Um,
award.
yeah, it sounds like a British Media Award,
Uh,
Media British
possibly.
Entertainment. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is cool. Like, the fact that he, like, it wasn't the kind of situation where he regretted his involvement, because, like, a fan base that is kind of known to be a little fervent at times,
Yeah.
maybe kind of overpowered him. Like, no, apparently he, was really proud of it. He enjoyed the time doing it. And it's a legacy that's going to be tied to him going forward. So, like Blue said, condolences to the family. Maybe we'll see, some kind of tribute to him in some Star Wars thing going forward, because it's a pretty pivotal actor in the franchise.
yeah.
But with that, we'll move on to the IO Interactive story. I don't know about you guys. I'm like a really big James Bond fan. Like, I watched starting with like the Pierce Brosnan ones. I watched all of his Bond movies. Played all the classic games. GoldenEye, Agent Under Fire, Everything or Nothing. Big fan. Went back, watched some of the Sean Connery ones, Timothy Dalton ones. Love the Daniel Craig joints. And there really hasn't been a good Bond game since like mid to late 2000s, I want to say. I might even be giving him more credit than that. It might be earlier than that there hasn't been a good Bond game. Because they tried to remake GoldenEye on
GoldenEye.
like
On the Wii?
Yeah, it was the Wii's
Yeah.
generation. Yeah. And that basically bombed. So IO Interactive, which has been kind of trucking along in the background, making Hitman game after Hitman game, which I play here and there. Like, I'm not the biggest Hitman fan. I did have fun with Hitman, I want to say Blood Money back in the day, and I finished all of Absolution, but I didn't find Absolution super fun. So I kind of haven't touched on it since then. But this still kind of excites me, because the idea of Hitman, which he does use like a bunch of gadgets, he uses a big world to kind of, and systems driven gameplay, whatnot. If you slap a Bond license on top of that, I think they could get a little more kooky than they have been. And not to say Hitman isn't kooky, because it is actually a very like odd game when you get into it. But I really like the idea of slapping Bond on this franchise. Like, what do you guys think?
I'll go first because I don't have a whole bunch of attachment to 007. Besides, it was like the year we graduated, so we were the Bond year. But anyway, um, no, but I do have a connection to Hitman, and while it's not vast, like you said, I've played Hitman games here and there. There's a couple on Game Pass that I've found really fun, and they've always been, for me, the most probably intense stealth assassination games that I've played. And I haven't tried Metal Gear Solid, and I know that's kind of like one of the end all.
Yeah, it's probably like the bar for like stealth
Yeah.
action, right?
But I would say Hitman for me, as I've seen and as I've played, is probably that close second. So just like you said, if they put a Bond skin on this, and get that that storyline and that motivation for you to be this stealthy, be this cool guy, going through these amazing environments, yeah, I could see this being fun. I could see this shoot. You know me, I could see this being multiplayer. You know what I mean? Some co-op options.
We can talk about that. Because Everything or Nothing had a multiplayer mode that was actually really good. I feel like not enough people talk about that EA game. But Jesse, what about you? Like, what's your take on IO Interactive and Bond?
I don't know much. I also have only played a couple of Hitman games. I also played Blood Money, which I really liked, and trying to remember why. I'm not sure why, but I really did. And I played Absolution, which was fun. But I felt like kind of what you're saying, where if you have kind of the kookiness of Bond, I feel like it could have been a lot better. Like that's a good sell for me on being excited about it. Because Hitman is kind of kooky. You're dealing with a lot of weird stuff, but you don't have you don't have invisible cars and jetpacks like you have in
right.
Bond.
Yeah, like you can get really silly in Bond. Like I know they tried to ground it a bit more in recent years. But they did say that this title won't be tied to any movie. So, like, they kind of get free reign to do what they want with just the concept of Bond. I think I saw some speculation that it could maybe be, and I don't think there's any work that's been done on this yet, but there was some speculation from fans, I think, that this could be like a create your own Bond type thing. Like, how would you feel about that? Like, if you made your own character and that character was 007. Okay, I can see Blue's into that idea.
Yeah, I think it could work. I'm all for creative characters. I'm all for making your story in someone's vast, detailed universe. So, super yes, let me make my own Bond. Let me create the look. Let me create the speech. You know what I mean? And even though I know my character will be versatile on different things, and that's again where you can come into some multiplayer options. Maybe you can have different numbers online. You know what I mean? Not 007, maybe you're 006, maybe you're 00.
So it goes from 001 to 006, then from 008 to double infinity.
I'm just saying. Like my head's just going crazy. But the fact is,
or like the best player in the world gets to be 007. Like, but that'd be cool.
That'd be crazy. The leaderboard. But we'll workshop that idea. But the fact, the thought of making your own Bond, I'm here for it. Yes, please and thank you.
Cool. I think does that appeal to you, Jesse?
Okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, especially if it's not tied to a film, which I think is the best idea because that gives you more room to create what the developers want to create. I think create your own Bond would be your own 00 agent would be awesome, especially if it is multiplayer, and then being able to play a style that someone else isn't and working together, I think would be super cool. I like both of those ideas, and I want to see them both happen.
Yeah. I mean, I really didn't put a lot of thought into like a co-op multiplayer aspect because like I'm a big fan of multiplayer in general, so I would think that's fun. But I don't know. I might be leaning more on the purist side in terms of like the Bond experience, where in most cases it is kind of just a single agent going in and handling like these situations and whatnot. I do think it would become more of a cookie cutter type experience where like maybe it's just people like a third person cover shooter or something like that. If you add two, 3, 4 players into the mix. it could dilute like that kind of espionage take. Is my fear. I mean, I would hope not, but
So that I could see that if all of them played the same like spies. Imagine you have the agent, you have the guy in the chair, right?
oh, like
You
different
have
classes of
different classes, different
Yeah.
people that are in the squad. Because I like you said, the Bond or the spy experience is normally you're over the shoulder of the agent, and he's picking up his contacts all over the world and just getting from one place to the next, right? Those contacts can be your friends. And so, when he does little missions like, okay, I need you to dance with me so we look inconspicuous, like different things like that. So,
right. But I feel like
I think,
if there's like three other people in the level with you, stuff like that, where like maybe you have to have a prolonged conversation with an NPC or something, and like maybe
Yeah.
select the right dialogue to like get them to do something for you. I feel like you don't really see that in like a multiplayer co-op experience. I mean, I would like to, like, if that's something that they
Yeah.
can pull off, I'm totally down
Mhm.
for that. But just in general, like, I haven't seen it yet. Maybe this will be the first, but I mean, forgive me if I'm if I'm not assuming IO Interactive is going to revolutionize the co-op experience. I mean, nothing against
You're
them, but
right.
it's just, they have a thing that they do, and
Yeah.
this Bond thing kind of slots well into what they do already. I'm expecting them to maybe make the best use of those particular talents. But I will say on the character customization thing, Lampy's making reference to the piece I wrote about black hair in games, saying that they'll need to make good black hair. All games do, not just this one.
Yeah.
Every game that has character
Not
creation options
just
needs to make good black hair.
NBA games.
But I do think I as a fan of the Bond franchise, I'd be interested in them kind of playing around in that universe, in that history. Like I want to see Pierce Brosnan as Bond. I want to see Daniel Craig as Bond. I want to see Sean Connery, Timothy Dalton. Like, give me those options. I don't know. Like, maybe make them skins, make them all part of this story. Like, they tell a whole story about the lineage of
universe.
007 from, and maybe you play as this Bond all the way up to the current Bond or something. Like, I'd be down for that. I'd be really excited to kind of relive that and play around in that universe because I love it so much.
Yeah.
And then maybe after that, give us the option to make Idris Elba as the next Bond or something. I don't know. Like, maybe he comes in as DLC. Like, I think that I'd be down for that. Maybe
I think some good DLC for that would be to play through kind of like the old story missions
what, from like previous
and-
games or movies?
from previous movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that would be cool. Like, download the finale fight of GoldenEye, and you just go through that whole last mission, and it's those characters. It wouldn't be your character; it'd be those iconic characters. I think that'd
Yeah.
be some pretty cool
Like-
selling points.
Like multiple 007s working together.
Yeah.
I mean, the level of fan service might be too much at that point.
Seth Rogen.
But just wanted to point out, yeah, Jeff made a comment. He's in the chat right now. He said if it was like GTA Heist, that could work, where like each person had a task while others had
Yeah.
something else to do. Like that. That is a good point. Yeah, like if you divide the actual mission structure, so like yes, you're playing together, but you are actually doing different things in a world that's supposed to, all steamrolling ahead on the critical path. Yeah, that could definitely be a way to make that work. And it's possible because IO Interactive does make big maps with a bunch of, kind of clockwork systems. Like, people are doing things at certain times in different places. And depending on what you guys discover in terms of intel on how that location works, maybe you could kind of come up with your own plan and be like, all right, you kidnap that guy, you poison that thing, you hack this computer. Like, yeah, that could actually be really fun. That's a good point.
And that's yeah. I feel that. I'm kind of like in the middle of the casino heist on GTA 5, and a lot of those things that you're saying right now is what we have to do. You have to collect info on. You have to scout the whole casino, look at the back door, find the security entrances, blah blah blah. You have a certain amount of time. All that kind of stuff is already kind of groundwork for some really cool spy stuff.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, any lingering thoughts on this particular story?
No,
Just
I'm good,
check
man.
chat real quick, see if they have anything to add. Smumbo saying I should ask Nick if Escapist Twitch can host mine. I mean, that'd be nice, but I don't know if Nick is up for that kind of stuff. But with that, we'll move on to our next topic. So you guys may have heard PlayStation 5 came out. It's kind of a big deal.
Oh, did it? Oh.
Apparently, Sony says that absolutely everything is sold, meaning they, as Sony Entertainment, do not have any more stock. But, you know, day after day, we keep seeing certain retailers say, oh, we got a bunch of consoles getting ready to pop. And that lets you know, like, what Sony's talking about is, what is it, to sell to and not to sell through. Like, these are two distinctions that companies use in retail. Sell to means that they've sold everything in their stock to retailers. And then whether retailers sell those to actual customers or not is kind of a different figure. That's the sell through number.
Yeah.
Don't know if everything has been sold from the retailers, but what we do know is nobody can get a PS5. Like, I personally have been checking, you know, like resellers like Facebook Marketplace. What is it, StockX is the other one? I think that's what it's called, right? That website. I haven't looked on eBay because I don't trust eBay. Haven't since like the early 2000s. But,
makes sense.
But there are tons of PlayStation 5 consoles in those marketplaces. The only problem is that they're charging $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 for a $500 machine. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, are you guys seeing something similar? Like, have you been trying to get PS5s at all? No.
I have friends who've been trying to get it, and actually have a friend this morning who, can you take me to Walmart? Oh wait, no, never mind, they're out of stock. And it's just this mad dash for the PS5, and I'm personally not trying to get one right now. I do want one, just not today. I don't see the rush right now. But it's crazy. This shortage is wild, man, and people are kind of losing their minds trying to figure out who's lying and who's not really about what they got.
Right, that's the thing, the shortages discussion, right? Because like PZ, the one just mentioned, apparently there are hoarders who have like 3,500 in their inventory. So when these machines went on sale, the majority of people who bought them were people planning to resell them at higher cost. So like, if 3,500 more people, like regular people, actually bought PS5s, would we be hearing that there's a shortage of them? Because I think the consoles are actually out there. They're just not in the hands of people who are playing them.
Yeah. So
like, what is there to be done about? Like, is there nothing that can be done about that? Like, as far as I know, and I think there was actually an article on Escapist, the Escape from the Law column, that said that scalping isn't illegal. Like, it's kind of just, you know, like a dick move.
A legal term.
Cool
right.
that, man.
Like, there's really not much to be done about it. I don't know, maybe fashion your own competing bot to get you just one, because I don't know. Like, are you familiar at all with like the concept of like bots buying stuff? Like, have either of you used something like that in the past?
I have not used them. From what I've heard, the good ones are very expensive to buy.
So you have to buy those as well.
Right. So you have to buy a good bot that's actually going to do it. And then you have to resell your scalped goods at a high enough price to recoup your cost just to buying the thing. And then if that gets like shut down or changed, like then you might have to spend more. I mean, I just I wish people wouldn't, but you know.
Right, and Jeff
has saying doesn't change the world, unfortunately.
I mean, that just sounds like a handful of problems. But if you have that kind of disposable income, I can see somebody not aligned with most of our moral compasses thinking that this is fun. And it sucks because, just like you said, it's not illegal. And some people just thrive on dick moves.
Yeah,
some people
there
are
are griefers.
Griefers, yeah.
Jeff was asking, but ticket scalping is in terms of legality. I'm not sure, to be honest. Limpy was adding only if it's in the T's and C's that resell. That resell isn't allowed. Not sure what that.
Oh, means. Terms and conditions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's actually true. There's some when it the tickets, they have a lot of fine print about if you can resell them or not.
So some
Um,
allow and some don't.
hmm Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So what? So wow,
Man,
could you make terms and conditions for buying a console? Like, is that a thing? No, because a ticket is
I
just
don't think
admission to an event. Like, why can that have a terms and conditions and not anything else that you sell to a person?
But it wouldn't be. I don't know if you could, because it wouldn't be the console; it would be the retailer.
and
Right.
how
Because
could you regulate it once they've already brought it home?
That is a
You
good
know what I
point.
mean?
and it would be like anyone who has a legitimate product. Like, oh, I bought this. Like, if I bought like a graphics card, and then I got another one that I liked even more,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, I'm going to sell my other one, but like,
Private deal.
and it's during scalping time.
Uh huh.
Oh no, is this a problem for me? Even though I legitimately got a better one, like, but now am I going to be in trouble for doing
Yeah,
it?
it's a little too easy to kind of circumvent any kind of rule you would want to set to stop people from being malicious, right?
Yeah,
So that I think that's the root of the problem is that people can do this, and so they're gonna, and everybody
Exactly.
else is kind of just at the mercy of it. So I don't know. I do like at this point, and Jeff made a really good point. At least I think it was Jeff when we were talking about this at some point in the past, probably on a stream or something. But like Sony gets their money either way. So like, what is really their incentive to kind of put any additional effort into making sure it goes to consumers? Because the
The
sale
more,
happens. But then on the other hand, I mean, Sony wants they want players playing their console in their home so that they can buy more software because most
Yeah.
console makers sell consoles at a loss, right? So
Yeah.
they need to recoup it in software. If a bunch of your stock was sold off the shelves, that looks good on paper saying like we sold everything out immediately. But then when you start releasing all your, high quality first party exclusives, if no one's buying those $1,200 PlayStations, then that's that many people not buying your exclusive game, right?
hmm
So I don't know. Maybe they do have an impetus to do something about this. Get the console into players' hands so that that's your actual market base. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
how I feel. I don't know.
now this is the thing with all this scalping and this selling out on a regular basis. Are they losing money on the console?
Well, I'm assuming they're selling at a loss because I'm 100% sure that Sony only hit that $500 mark because Xbox did. Like they waited until they couldn't wait any. Like they would have waited until today if Xbox didn't say anything about price. I'm sure of it. So once Xbox said 500, they're like, all right, fine, we'll do 500 because we can't do any lower.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I'm positive they're selling at a loss right now based on what's in it.
I would be shocked if they weren't, but I'm also not a console manufacturer, so what do I know?
Right.
But yeah, usually it's sold at a loss. You're right. So, and yeah, I feel like they're. I would hope that they would want to do more and are actively trying to do more because, like you were saying, if there are, 10,000 PlayStations sitting on someone's garage, waiting to get sold for too much on eBay,
Mm-hmm.
that's 10,000 people who want one that aren't going to buy one, and whoever does get them will have less capital to buy games. And the people who have $500 to spend on a console and another 100 to spend on games,
Yeah.
Sony's
They're not
getting
getting that
zero
extra.
of that. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Right, yeah. So the Fast Axe is saying if people want to stop paying ridiculous prices from scalpers, the solution is just don't buy it from them and watch the price drops. Like that's what I've been doing essentially is continually watching all those reseller markets. And they're being pretty stubborn to as of right now. Like I want to say like a week or two out from the launch and they're
Yeah.
still at around $1,200. Like the cheapest I've seen is maybe somewhere in the 900 range, but that's still too high. I'm not paying that.
No.
Yeah.
And I think
Well, and
those are
also-
like those were listed at 900. Like they didn't drop it down because they'll show you when a price has been cut from what it was posted previously to what it is now. So I feel like people want to recoup money. It's still in the media as being a hot commodity. You won't see a drop like that until probably when actual PlayStations are back in stock for regular people.
Okay, so I got a question for y'all, and I guess people in the chat too.
Mm-hmm.
This might be just an ethics question, but how low do you need to see it online to say I'm gonna buy it?
See,
So you said 900 is not the move. So
Not-
how low are you gonna see it online till you buy it?
see that's definitely going to be different for every person, because I did actually end up having to buy my graphics card from a reseller.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that at, like, those cards were about the same as the consoles, like 500, I believe, for the 3070. I think you had the same one, Jesse. So 500 was what I was looking to spend. I could not get it in store when it released. Saw it in the marketplace for 710. So with tax, I feel like I paid like maybe 180, 170 more rather than a full 200 or a full 400 more. And because I use it for work, like I use it for editing and everything else, I feel like it's gonna kind of, I really was desperate to get it, essentially. So it's gonna pay for itself over time anyway. So that justified it in my mind to pay that much more. But honestly, if I'd seen it at like maybe, again, like that 900 number, that's a little too close to 1,000, and I probably would not have taken the plunge. So like it's like mental gymnastics that people are probably doing based on how much they want the thing and then how much they can, invest in it once they spend that money. Night Shadow says 650, no more. For PS5, I guess.
Yeah, I originally was talking about the PS5.
And Lampy says, I refuse to buy from scalpers. Can also lose warranties and buyer protection if it's bought secondhand or from sellers.
Yeah.
That's true. Because you won't have that original
true.
receipt.
Yeah.
Right?
That would have been my answer too, is I wouldn't buy secondhand unless it was cheaper than what I can get for it at the store.
Right.
Because you do have some level of protection.
That's true. I mean, I put in my head that since it was an unopened box, there should be at least some sort of manufacturer warranty. Right? That's my hope.
Oh, until you open it and then you find out that it's been gutted and it's a bunch of magazines to give it weight.
Oh my god.
Why?
That's what was happening with the original Xbox.
Oh, that's bad.
Man.
That's real bad. Matter of fact, were you guys hearing the stories of trucks going missing? Like people were getting their Amazon orders of the PS5, and it was like cat food or air fryers and so. Did you guys see these stories?
No.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah,
that's why they be like knocking and running so fast. They just know people up to
right. It's bad. It can get real bad out there. I'm sorry. What were you about to say?
I don't remember. It's okay.
And Jeff adds, for me, no more than retail. That's just me. I mean, I feel that. Like there's some things where I draw the line, for sure. In this instance, I kind of really needed that graphics card.
Yeah.
But anything else on the scarcity of PS5s?
It's sad.
I mean,
It's sad.
I hope the people who deserve it get it. I hope scalpers chill, because that's not cool. And I hope everyone at the end of the day enjoys their gaming experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, at least on the, and we'll transition into the Xbox story because there was this big interview with Phil Spencer. That's our next topic. But I wanted to say, like, at least on the Xbox side, like if you were diehard Sony, only play Sony games, and you wanted to play like their two new exclusives, Demon Souls and what is the other one? Because there's only two, I believe, that isn't available anywhere else. I'm blanking on it right now. Chad will probably remind me. Say again.
The one that comes preloaded, not Astro Boy.
No, not Astro. Is it? No, that can't be what I'm thinking of. There's something else. But the point being,
Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
No, because I actually bought that on PS4.
PS4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so but basically, the point I was trying to get to was everything that's coming out on the Xbox side, you should still be able to play on your old consoles or on PC if it's exclusive to that platform. Like some of the other, like next gen titles, maybe aren't gonna be there, right? Or won't function as well. But yeah, they've kind of promised that they won't leave behind next generation. That seems to have come in handy, being with how hard it is to kind of get a hand on some of these consoles. So I feel like that's kind of a silver lining that no one expected when they made that announcement. Because I'm definitely not hurting in that regard. Also, they don't have any, like, they literally have like no first party exclusives at their launch. So that's another thing. So you might as well wait for them because you're not gonna have an Xbox anyway.
Why rush?
But
What is
speaking of Xbox,
Yeah.
in this interview that Phil Spencer did with The Verge, he finally kind of dove into some of the dealings that happen to get games on Game Pass. And apparently, which I think I have speculated for a time now, there's no like one size fits all model. It's kind of all over the place depending on what the developers need.
Custom deals.
Right. So like, I personally think that's actually really cool. Like, it sounded like maybe he was looking to get it more under control and have it be more of a hybrid thing of paying devs up front and then also giving them dividends based on how much the game gets played. But in some cases, they just give a bunch of money up front, or they ask them, "Do you want to, have dividends off the back end?" And some devs will be like, "No, we'll just take the money up front because we don't know how well, how much it'll get played on there." And like maybe they come to regret that because it turns out to be some kind of smash hit because it was just free and available on Game Pass. So I don't know what's your take on that being their model, because people have notoriously wondered how viable is it for other companies to do what Microsoft is doing with Game Pass.
Yeah, I think so. When I was reading this article, it felt like to me that he cared about third-party developers. He kind of put them at the. He gave the power to them to make this deal work, to make these deals work, to get
To work
consumers
for their needs.
And to get consumers this large library. You know what I mean? It did say that he was trying, just like you said earlier, he was trying to lock some stuff down, but he realized that not every studio needs the same kind of things. So I feel like this is a good idea. I'm waiting to try. I'm still trying to read in between the lines, like, where is he here? Where is what's happening? But it doesn't seem like a bad mentality. So at the end of the day, I think that this is going to be good for gaming, and I'm always saying, cross-platform is the way to go. But the availability of a lot of games, especially multiplayer games from all kinds of different studios, is a blessing that we've experienced. And I hope they keep that up.
Nice. How about you, Jesse? What's your take?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, it's hard to think about it in the scope in which Microsoft can do something like this. Like, they've got Microsoft money. So they have access connections and just burnable income to try things that their competitors and other people who want to do something like this wouldn't have. But I do think the idea of like the putting third parties, like you were just saying, like putting them first. Yeah, it's really important. And I think said in the interview too, like that's what sells a console. Like, console exclusives are nice, but it's the third-party software that keeps people there. And then what you were saying with each studio needs something different, I think that sort of adaptability is very important. I know working as a freelancer and, getting hired by other people and then hiring other people for my stuff, it's huge. What does this person need? How available are they? Do they like you? Those are all things
right. Yeah,
that greatly change.
That's actually
like,
really important. That's a really important point to make, is like, do these third-party developers like working with Microsoft? Do they like the deal they got? Do they feel like it was fair that their game didn't go out like conventional games, but they still do they feel like they were paid for their hard work? Because like, there's always going to be in the back of your mind, like, if I didn't sell for this flat rate to put it on here, like day and date with the actual release, could we have turned a much bigger profit or something? And like, if they feel kind of stung or burned, like maybe it got buried when it showed up on Game Pass, like maybe they won't, like, once the contract is done, they won't want to work with them in the future. And that could be a problem for sustaining a library of that nature. So like, Phil kind of kowtowing, I don't know if that's the right word, but you know, just kind of being sensitive, I guess, to the needs of them versus what they need. Because at the end of the day, all they really need are games on Game Pass. That's what's going to get people to keep paying Microsoft the subscription fee, which will allow them to pay off the people who are giving them games, right? So all they got to do is just, it doesn't matter what it costs for you. Like, let's agree on a number. Let's not get ridiculous, but let's agree on a number.
Yeah.
Got it. That game is on Game Pass. X many people either are going to stick with Game Pass or will now sign up for it. Like, I think there was a statistic that came out recently. 70% of Xbox owners now have Game Pass.
Holy crap.
Like, that's an insane attachment rate of a console and a paid service. Like, Microsoft is making money, and they have not raised the subscription price yet. Right? Like, they're being really smart about just selling you on the value of what that service is.
I thoroughly believe that extra 30% is just people who look at it as a net. Like, they do not play games.
Maybe, yeah.
They're like, I get home, I play Call of Duty or Halo multiplayer, and that's it. And they don't have enough of other games that they want to play for that to matter.
Right. So yeah, so it will probably never be 100% of the market. Yeah. But like 70% is probably much closer than you would think in terms of like just oversaturation of people using a service. Like I'd be really interested to hear what Sony's attachment rate is to their PlayStation Plus, especially now that they've added the PlayStation Collection to it, which is just PS4 games, I think. And here and there, apparently it does look like Sony has designs on trying to copy this model in some way, because Bugsnax was free for PlayStation Plus subscribers. I think that might have been like their monthly thing.
Yeah,
like not it wasn't part of the PlayStation Collection. It was just like their
PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, like their free games of the month type thing.
Yeah,
which they still do from time to time. Xbox, I think, also still does it, but it's kind of less. It's kind of a moot point when you have Game Pass next to it with like hundreds of titles, right? But I don't know. I don't know if they'll continue to do that. They seem to not want to let it go. And like he says, PlayStation Plus subscribers are on PS5 only.
For Bugsnax, I'm assuming.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't free for PS4 use. Oh, that sucks.
Jeez, they really trying to phase out the PS4.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. You know? See, like that, those kind of digs.
You can't get a PS5,
right? Like
those kind of digs at your
get a PS5.
Market. That sucks. That's really upsetting to hear.
That's terrible. That's a lot of pressure on a Sony pony. If you're exclusively Sony, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, like they're gonna feel left behind by that kind of stuff.
Yeah, everything's kind of fizzling out. Oh my gosh, I'm praying for y'all.
But on the note of Sony ponies, our final topic is more comments that Phil Spencer went into near the end of that interview, where he basically said that console tribalism is one of the worst things about the games industry. What most people probably refer to as the console wars is kind of that die-hard allegiance to one console over the other that leads to, disparaging remarks, just hateful comments, all sorts of toxicity on the internet for anyone who is a fan of the opposite console, right? So I kind of want to open a discussion because it's something we come back to over and over again. I've said before, I'm personally a fan of console wars, but maybe not in the context that people think of it, because I really like that he used the word console tribalism, because that makes much more sense than, like, I feel like that's what it should be called going forward, console tribalism. Because the console wars, to me, is not necessarily between us as people who play games, but that's between the companies themselves. That's the moves that Sony makes to counter what Microsoft does, and the moves that Microsoft does to try to get ahead on Sony. Like, I love hearing and reading about that. Like, that's a console war to me. Them actively going at each other and trying to get, the best market share and appeal to the most customers. Like, I love that stuff. But yeah, like, I feel it. I see in the comments all the time, anytime there's something positive to say about Xbox or positive to say about Sony, the other side comes in and has disparaging remarks. And you guys know me. The thing that really ruffles my feathers the most is when they just spit incorrect information.
Yeah. Fake news.
Yeah, like they come in there like just saying like, the Xbox is trash. It can't do this, that, and the third. Like, yes, it can. Like, what are you talking about?
Have you seen one?
Right. So I mean, what are your feelings on that sentiment that it's one of the worst things in gaming?
Yeah, 100%. I've said this before, and it's one of my favorite terms to throw around. Polygamerism. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be a complicated term, but being a gamer means you like games. You don't have to choose games in one. It's not even one lane, because one lane would be like a genre, right? Like, I only play RPGs.
Mhm.
That is super cool. Do you, boo? But choosing just like one company, or like you're throttling yourself.
Yeah, like it's limiting. Like that. Like I would hate that. Like, what if I could only play
why?
Nintendo games? Like, yes, they have
Yeah.
some fantastic titles, but like, look at what I'd be missing out on.
If I could only play Nintendo games, I probably wouldn't be a gamer. I'm not saying that I wouldn't play the games, but I wouldn't be nearly as hardcore a gamer as I am today.
Right. And like I've said this before, but like I used to be a tribalist. Like I used to be a diehard Nintendo fan. Like you couldn't tell me nothing about no Segas, no PlayStations. Like, get out of my face. Nintendo's better than all of them. I don't care. And the thing is, I didn't have PlayStations or Segas back then, but I did have cousins and friends who did.
Yeah.
And I would play their stuff when I went to their house, and I would have fun. I would enjoy some of the titles, like not all, because I still hate Sonic.
for
I think
sure.
Sonic is a bad game. But like, yeah, I played Metal Gear Solid on PS1 back in the day, and like was really taken aback by it. Like I thought that was a great experience, but I still was like, well, the graphics look like garbage compared to the N64, so this would be better if it was on a Nintendo platform. Is like how I had it in my head, and it wasn't until GameCube era, and they really struggled to release anything. Like third parties didn't really want to mess with them. That I realized how limiting it was to only have that console. Like I
think you're
jumped
absolutely
ship,
right.
and then my mind was open to the possibilities. You know?
The GameCube let you know, like, hold on, I need to grow up.
Yes, yes, it did.
Oh man.
But what about you? Just what's your take on like the tribalism, the console wars?
Yeah, I hate that. I mean, man, I play games to have fun. Like on my PC, on a Wii, on my phone.
Right.
Whatever. If it's enjoyable, it's enjoyable. Like, cool.
Yes.
It kind of blows my mind that that's the sort of attitude that some people have. That like you have to be brand loyal to something that does not care about you.
Yeah, like not the way you care about it, at least.
Right.
You know? This is a very toxic relationship.
Yeah, it is. Your Xbox One is not going to, fight for you the way you fight for it.
Like you're having an argument with your parents, your Xbox is not going to say, "Look, he doesn't need to go back to grad school."
All he needs right here. It's fine.
Xbox.
But no, I do want to say, like, again, I want to reiterate, like, I think there is a place for healthy discussion about what consoles offer. Like, like, for example, Xbox kind of putting its heart and soul into the Game Pass service and making it such a compelling, hard to say no to deal. I feel like Sony people should pay attention to that. People who love Sony console, like that's their preferred console, should be bugging Sony saying like, look, they're having a ton of fun over there with this service. You got to make something happen for us. And honestly, like, it probably didn't come from the fans. Honestly, like, Sony fans were making excuse after excuse as far as I know. And I know it's probably like a vocal minority on the internet. Like maybe the ones who are more quiet do feel some type of way about not having a big library. But the ones who are on the internet talking all the time were like, doesn't matter how many games they have, they don't have the big exclusives. And it's like, if Sony's seeing that, then that's why you end up with the PlayStation Collection, which is like a half measure towards competing with Microsoft. Because I'm sure they feel the pressure from Microsoft Game Pass in terms of how happy the other side is with it. So Sony's like, well, if we can pull some of that goodwill our way, maybe we can make more money. But like their most diehard fans will tell them that they're doing nothing wrong, and that's how you end up with a console that's twice as big and like shaped like a freaking clamshell. Like Sony's in the mindset that they can do whatever they want right now, and like people are letting them get away with it. Like that's how I feel.
I personally like the obelisk. I think it's pretty cool. But I understand it's not everybody's style, you know?
I think that console is butt ugly, but
yeah, I feel you. I can see how you can see that.
Yeah. I like it, but the PlayStation 5 needs to come with a Kaiba head and arms.
Yes, have you seen the people
yeah,
put like the
that's exactly what it looks like, and like they need to just embrace that.
Yes, like Microsoft, and I know what this sounds like. This sounds like I'm basically being a tribalism person for the Xbox. But I honestly feel like I'm such a fan of what Microsoft has done because it's so pro-consumer. Like, that's why I'm in their camp right now. Like, I love everything that they've made available to people who like to play games. Like, they've made it easier than ever to play a ton of games on a console. The experience is just better for me and what I want to do. On Sony's side, they kind of actively fight against what is best for the consumers in a lot of ways. Like they're still, you know, kind of stubborn when it comes to like the crossplay stuff. Like they're telling everybody that they plan to charge $70 for all their new first party titles and whatnot. Like Sony is like, we want to use our prestige and charge you more money. Like that's the vibe I get from them. And because I love video games so much, I'm probably still going to play the stuff that they release if it's good. But, like, I don't feel good about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's why I'm leaning one way towards the other. Like, if Sony tomorrow opens the door, they're like, you know what? We're sick of all this value that Microsoft is giving you. Here, take everything that comes out on a Sony console is now included in the subscription.
Cold said.
My mind is blown. Sony all day. Let's get it.
Easy.
Like, I don't know how viable that is, but like, as long as they're showing that they, you know, that, and I want them to make money. They're a company. They need to, right? But as long as they're showing they're taking into consideration their actual consumer base, I'm all for it. That's just my take. Lampy's saying Microsoft isn't pro-consumer. It's pro-Microsoft making money. All companies are. They're just using different strategies. This is a better strategy then. Like you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
but like
we don't doubt that they're making money. Like
exactly,
we don't think that they're like some Gandhi very.
Like I'm not so jaded as to think that they're doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. But I will say it is much smarter to catch flies with honey than with vinegar. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
and I feel good about giving it to their team.
I do.
Rather than giving it to
like I feel like the money that I spend goes a lot farther when I spend it with Microsoft. And that's something Microsoft wants. Like they're like, yes, give us the money. We're glad you feel good about giving us the money. But I mean at least I get something out of it. At least I don't feel cheated in some way.
I feel like, you know, with Game Pass I can change my game with my move on a whim. You know what I mean? I feel like racing. Hot shot racing, boom. Oh, you know, I feel like shooting some folks. Destiny 2. I want to do something different. You know, like any genre I kind of want to link into, I can find it there.
Yeah, like
I have it up and just scroll. It's like TV channels.
Yeah,
it's like TV channels now.
It is. Like I feel like Sony's taking to heart, and it has done them well in terms of like, you know, prestige and market share and, you know, just impact. Like Sony is seen as the market leader for good reason. They make some of the best titles and have made some of the best titles of the generation in recent years, right? But they're taking that idea of being like this boutique, upscale, you know, console, and that's gonna leave some people behind. Like that's and maybe there's a place for it. Like, and maybe there is, like the more snotty, the more discerning gamer plays the PS5, right? Like maybe that's the brand and the image that they want to develop, right? And maybe that's going to work for a lot of people. Like clearly they're still, you know, the market leader, so maybe it does work for them to do it that way. For me personally, it's a bit of a put off. Like I'm still gonna interact with their stuff because, like, you know, I'm a gamer. Like it's what I do. But it's off putting to me. So that's why that balance seems kind of weighted heavily on the Xbox side. So, and I won't deny that. Like, I like what Microsoft is doing more than Sony right now. And I honestly, and I have from the beginning. Like, even, what was it? Even in PS2 days, like, I wasn't a fan of kind of just some of what Sony did. Like, with like the PSP, the V, like, all that stuff. Like, Sony has a habit of doing, like, with the proprietary memory stuff. You remember?
Oh yeah, no, I feel you.
Like they have a habit of doing this, like this kind of nickel and diming of consumers, and like it's always left a bad taste in my mouth. So,
Night Shadow said it best. Sony acts like the Apple of gaming community, and that's kind of exactly what you.
Yeah, everybody wants to do that. Yeah, everyone wants to follow that. Nintendo does it a bit too, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Libra said, "Oh, okay." Sigma unfollows. But remember the point of this discussion. I know I went on a tangent and a tirade, but the point of the discussion was console tribalism is bad.
Please fund us.
Play everything if you can.
Yeah.
Have fun. Gaming is supposed to bring us together,
right?
Not pull us apart.
All those things. Let me say, or have the Kinect always listen so it could collect your personal data. Yeah, that's sketchy. I don't know if that's what it was doing though.
What are they getting from me? They get a lot of embarrassing stuff.
Like I will say on
It's
like
quarantine.
because honestly I don't remember hearing a bunch of stories about the Kinect taking personal data. Like I know it always listened because that was part of its design.
I still got it in my room right now.
But once again, isn't that just Microsoft being ahead of the curve? Because Alexa, Google on your phone, all that stuff always listens, and all of that does collect your personal data. Because I can't tell you how many times I talked about a thing and then saw an ad pop up like minutes later on Facebook, right? So like Microsoft was just ahead of the curve. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but like it's the world we live in. It's data driven. And Sony does it too. Like they're selling an iCamera with their PS5 bundles, right? So I'm positive that does the same thing. I don't know if it's voice activated or not. I don't know what that iCamera is for, to be honest.
Didn't they try and do that last time too with the PS4?
Well, yeah. But
I don't remember. Like you had to.
I digress. We're probably over time right now. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up unless you guys have any lasting words to say about the tribalism discussion.
No.
Don't.
Nope.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Words to live by.
Polygamery.
Yeah.
So,
all the way.
Thank you, everyone in the chat, for listening to the show. I think this might be a record number of folks in the chat right now, so we really appreciate that.
Nice.
Make sure you're following the channel. We will be back next week for another episode of the Sigma Show. Thank you so much, Blue Bones, for showing up to this discussion.
No problem,
Thank you, Rexicon Jesse.
Of course.
Stay tuned to these channels. This afternoon, we will be back for Super Smash Sunday. Not so sure about Escapist Game Night in the evening, though. I don't know what we're going to be doing then. I have not heard anything. We asked questions previously, and just I don't know what we're going to do. But keep an eye out for that stuff. Thanks, everybody. That's going to do it for us. Bye.
Night. Or morning, whatever time it is for you.
Afternoon.